Hello there, fellow citizens of the internet. My name is Moses. You are listening to this on the Moses Kabandana podcast, and welcome to my podcast. Today's episode is going to be dedicated towards my earliest memories. Oh my goodness. I've got a lot of memories, a lot of crazy memories. There may be a part 2, 3, and 10 basically on this. So for those that are listening, I have a cup of coffee with me. So if you hear a pause, just know that I am taking a sip. Okay, that was the sip right there. Okay, so let's go down memory lane. So for those that do not know much and or anything about me at all, my name is Moses Kabandana. I was born in Rwanda. I grew up in Mozambique, and I also grew up in the States, beginning at the age of 15 going on 16. So I'm gonna go down memory lane, and what is the very first memory that I know? Oh, and by the way, you can find my podcast on Spotify. You can find my podcast on Apple Podcasts. You can find it on YouTube. You can find it wherever you listen to your podcasts, including Google Podcasts. So if you just search the Moses Kabandana, that's Kabandana podcast, anywhere you get your podcast, there you will find my podcast. And if you can share this episode with anyone, that would be amazing. Okay, so very first memory that I have, the earliest memory that I've got in my head goes way back to before I even really knew anything about anything really. I had to confirm this with my older brother. The earliest memory that I have is me eating some really slimy stuff. Yeah, I know. I remember it was in the woods, and it's dark, and I'm munching on some infinitely chewable slimy thingy. Now, like I said, later on I found out. I asked my older brother, what was it that we were munching on? To his surprise, he was like, "How do you even know about this? How do you even remember this? This is redonkulous." And it just happened to be that we were munching on some monkey meat. Now, what kind of monkey? I have no idea. I don't think he knows either. We're about five years apart. So that is, and why were we in the woods? Because we were refugees. We were running away from our native country, trying to migrate into, trying to seek refuge in a different country that would host us. So how did that taste? I kind of still have a lingering of the taste of that meat. I don't even remember it as meat really. It was like a not a jelly bean, a gummy bear that's infinitely chewable, right? You just keep chewing it, and then eventually you just give up and just swallow. I'm gonna take a sip. So this is a very dark coffee. So that is the absolute earliest memory that I've got. It's dark. There is a lot of people. There's a lot of rustling, shuffling, and I'm chewing on some gummy bear, endlessly chewable thingy. Now the second memory, which kind of makes sense to this, I have a very vivid memory of me being unloaded from a truck. And every time I remember it, it makes me feel like a cow for some reason, I'm being unloaded, I was a piece of luggage or something. So I was being unloaded from a military truck, and this is because we had arrived to a country. Now, I do not necessarily remember which country this was. It could have been Congo, could have been Tanzania, could have been Mozambique, or none of those for that matter. My timeline and my knowledge of that, of my past, really is is really scrabbled, right? Like really, really scrabbled. So that is the second memory that I've got. The second earliest memory that I've got. The third one, sorry, mom, if you're listening and or watching, is I must have been like, I don't know, 5, I think, maybe even younger. Is me trying to do the dirty with another girl, about the same age as I. We had no idea what we were doing. Somehow we found ourselves in an empty classroom, an empty room. It wasn't even a classroom because there wasn't any tables, there wasn't any, it was just big empties and cement. And we was just, pokey. No need to take off anything. So it's odd that's like the third earliest memory that I've got. I might regret putting this on the internet. This is so bad. But that is the third earliest memory that I have. And the following memory from that, for some reason, this was in Mozambique. Now we were already in Mozambique in a refugee camp in the state of Maputo. The refugee camp was called, I want to say it's pronounced Bobole, probably Bole, I believe. I'm not quite sure what part of Maputo that was in, but I believe that was the name of the refugee camp. So for some reason I just remember a really rainy day, and it is me and a whole bunch of other refugee kids in this camp, and I don't know why we were allowed to do this. Different times, I suppose, different cultures. But it's really rainy, probably thunderous too, if I remember correctly. But it was light enough for us kids to be out there playing. And oh my goodness, we was butt-ass naked. Can I say butt-ass naked? We was butt-ass naked and just playing in the rain. A bunch of kids playing in the rain, and one of the absolute favorite things to do was, I think one of the corridors, I don't know what type of material the cement was made of. Cement is the material, I suppose, but it was smooth, right? The hallway was smooth, so we would go from one end of the hallway, run as fast as we could, right? Pick up some speed, and once you get about halfway through the hallway, you just get on your ass cheeks, get on your butt cheeks, get on your buttocks. What's the proper way of saying ass cheeks? Buttocks? Whatever. You get on your boom boom, and you just slide all the way to the end of it. And whoever could slide all the way off of the corridor, of the hallway, well, essentially wins or gets the bragging rights. And you could slide on your stomach, you could slide on your back, you could use your buttocks. And if I recall correctly, we would we would put some soap down, right, to make it even more, just so dumb, but so much fun. We just put some soap on the floor to make it even more slippery, and you didn't even have to pick up so much speed you didn't have to go all the way till halfway through the corridor in order to start sliding. You could just take 3, 4, 5 steps and just lay your ass on the ground, lay your cheeks on the ground, lay your buttocks on the ground. What is the extra? Okay, yeah, you get the point, right? You just take a couple steps, put your cheeks on the floor, and you're just gone, right? And I really cherish that particular memory for some reason. Yeah. So okay, the following memory from that is, I don't know why I was doing this, but my biological father, he had left his clothes out or something, and I just remember me trying on his pants for some reason. They were obviously well over my head, and I think I remember no one was around, so I was just trying it on, and someone walked in, and they were just like, "What in the heck are you doing?" I think I got an ass whooping for that, a cheek whooping. That don't sound right. I got whooped. This was a bad idea. I got a whooping. I got a whooping for that. And that whooping came from my mother. And I don't really remember much about that. I did cry, but yeah, I remember trying those pants on and getting a whooping for that. I also do remember going to a lot of church, Catholic church. There's a particular song too that always comes to mind when I have this memory. And I remember sitting near the front. My father's there, my mother's there, older brother's there. My younger sister's really not quite in the memory. Not necessarily because she was not there. I think she's 3 years younger than I. It's probably because I have such a bad memory. It's nuts. It makes no sense. Or she was just way too young that she wasn't around much. So yeah, that is, what is that, fourth, fifth earliest memory, sixth earliest memory? Oh, another one following that, literally another memory following that. Now, it does not mean that these events are in chronological order. This is how my memory is putting them in this order. It's not necessary. I cannot necessarily validate, right, the chronological order of these events. So the following memory from that is I am on a public bus. This is probably the first public bus I've ever taken, or the earliest memory of me taking any form of public transportation. I am in a bus, and my father and I are standing, presumably because all the chairs are gone, all the seats are gone. And I'm munching on a gum, right? I'm chewing on a gum, and I must have like chewed the wrong way or something, or something happened, and the gum fell out of my mouth and hit the floor. Oh, I just took a sip. And well, as any youngster would do, you reach for it, right? You hit the floor. I reached for it, and I can never forget this. For some reason, it is ingrained at this point, it's ingrained in my DNA. My kids might even have a memory of this, even though it's not of their own. But I do remember looking up and my father saying, "Never, ever, ever pick a gum off the floor." Now, obviously, it was not in English, and to be frank, I don't even remember which language he said it in, because I don't remember what my first language was. It could have been Swahili, it could have been Kinyarwanda. I really do not know. Did I know Portuguese at this point? I'm not sure if I knew Portuguese at this point. But that is the following memory. So even now, as a grown man, young man, grown-ish man, I'm 27. I feel like I'm old. I feel like I'm at least 35. But so even now, when I'm chewing on a gum and it falls for whatever reason, I can't pick it up. Can't not pick it up. Like pick it up to eat it again, right? Not that I'm littering, but I can't pick it up and put it in my mouth again. So yeah, and for some reason, like right around this time period too, I do have a lot of memories of munching on what do you call that? Like, is it catfish? That big black fish that's got all kinds of like beards, is it called a blackfish? Dark fish, long yellow catfish, not yellow. It's a really big black fish with, obviously it starts small, but it's got a really, really hard head. Like you can hit it with a rock in the head and it's still gonna be fine. We ate a lot of those during this time. We ate a lot of those fish during this time. And these dudes, they eat anything. anything at all, poop, whatever. Like, they just eat anything. And I remember eating a lot of this fish, and it tasted great. Ooh, another memory just came to mind. Oh, my camera is acting weird. I think it's gonna die. Another memory just came to mind, which is the food that my mom would cook. So whenever she would cook during this time, she would serve my father first, and then us the siblings. Now, dare you leave the table before everybody's done? Well, let's just say that may God help you if you do that. Yeah, there's a lot of manners on the tape. I do remember that. I don't really have a lot of memories of my father, but this is definitely one of them. Was table manners. Him getting the first big meat. I always looked over his plate too, like, oh man, I can't wait until I'm that old so I can have my big piece. It sounds so dumb, but that's the thought that would go through my head is, oh, just you just wait until I'm about your age. I'm gonna have me the biggest piece I can. So yeah, that is another memory that just came to me that I did not even think that I had forgotten even. So, oh wow, we are going on 20 minutes, almost 20 minutes of this podcast. Like I said, there's going to be a part 2, 3, 4, and 10 of this. So the following memories from here on, there's still a lot of memories, but they're gonna involve some sadder parts and happy parts too of my past, but they do involve the death of my mom, the different paths that we had to take thereafter, and we might possibly get into the death of my father as well on the next episode. But I'm happy to hit, we're at 17 minutes now. I feel like I don't want to rush too much into the story, and my camera is acting so weird. I think it's about to die. So before it dies, I'm gonna have to end this episode of my earliest memories. Thank you so much for listening and watching. If you are on YouTube, yes. By the way, if you wanna see the video instead of listening, you can find it on YouTube as well under Moses Kabandana. Well, the Moses Kabandana podcast. Yeah. Thank you so much for listening, and I will catch you in the next episode. Peace.